How's that work, Patrick? It's really hard to do, but you can do it if you put your whole body into it. I'm just leaving myself exposed like crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Come in that way.
That's right. Much better.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hey guys, I'm Nathan from Arms and Armor. Today I want to talk about Warhammers compared to other kinds of hammers. Stay tuned. So, one of the great things about being a sword maker is you have to wear hearing protection while in the shop a lot, which means I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And I was just listening to Ivanhoe, right? The classic kind of nightly romance from the early modern period, or modern period, I guess. And there's this scene when Richard Plantagenet comes back from the Crusade, Richard Lionheart, and he's fighting in the lists, and he has what is described as a 20-pound hammer that he's using to fight with. And of course, anyone who does any kind of martial arts knows that that's really not a very good weapon, especially in it. He's on horseback, I believe, which means that he's one-handing a 20-pound hammer to fight with. It's not the best idea. But it made me think, because there are 20-pound hammers, they're just not for fighting people. They're really specialized tools. So here are two hammers that we use at Arms and Armor for really specific tools. This is a big dishing hammer, right, for essentially making things like armor or shield bosses where you're driving a piece of steel into a form. And here's a piece of 12 gauge steel, and so we can dome it. And this is a little bitty tiny armoring hammer that is for doing fine work on the inside of pieces of armor. This one weighs about, 2 or 3 ounces. This one weighs maybe 5 pounds, right? So it's a pretty hefty hammer. That said, if I hold this hammer out at extension, that gets pretty tiring. And if you swing this around in any way other than an ergonomic manner, you're gonna hurt yourself. This is really too heavy to be a super effective one-handed weapon. And this is too light to be an effective one-handed weapon. So, what are Warhammers like? Well, this is our replica of Warhammer that's in the Wallace collection. The whole head on this weighs about a pound, which is pretty perfect, right? So it's actually lighter than most swords, anything other than a small sword, really, or a little hanger. And the handle is a little bit longer than on kind of a regular tool hammer, which allows it actually to be really agile. This hammer, right, it moves around, it's got a spike, you can really strike with it. It moves really elegantly, right? It flows, you can strike with either end, and you can move it quickly. Hammers that are too heavy, if you try and fight with them, if you miss, you're screwed, right? So I guess if a knight was terrorizing your village and you were, a laborer and you could sneak up on him with a 10-pound sledgehammer and smack him on the back of the head, that would be that. All right, attempt number 2.
I hit it, but it bent.
Yep, got smashed.
Yeah, I have to work to get that out.
Yep. But in any kind of combat situation that's not just executing someone, a big heavy sledgehammer just isn't the right tool. So there's this really interesting thing that, even up to now, impact weapons in popular media are presented as being super heavy and they're gigantic, right? Even some of the weapons in Lord of the Rings are all right, but hammers in them are vastly oversized. Superheroes like Thor have gigantic hammers, and even in Victorian era fiction, these things are portrayed as gigantic. And, I'm sure it just goes to this kind of heroic idea we have that someone has to be superhuman to wield an impact weapon, but not the case. Real impact weapons were maneuverable and they were suited to a task. Now, even though this hammer is about the same size as a regular, claw hammer for construction, it would be terrible for driving nails, right? Because it doesn't have a flat head on it. It would be just as bad as the hammers I have Patrick try and use to drive in a nail in this video. Now show us the hammer you have. Oh yeah, that's a little tiny armoring hammer for getting inside of delicate pieces of armor. All right, let's drive the nail in.
I'll get there.
How long do you think that's gonna take?
Maybe.
That's
It's so small, it's kind of hard to...
yeah, good enough. So, you have to use the right tool for the job. When I have Patrick from the shop try and menace me or fight me with a sledgehammer, it would be very easy just to dodge his attacks and hit him with the lighter hammer. This is why you don't fight with a sledgehammer. No chance. Oh, weapons are tools. Use the right tool for a job. If you read something that claims these things are gigantic, see it for what it is, a piece of fiction. Thank you.